This is Coach Jason Ballard, and I'm a business wingman. Over the years, I've learned a lot from working in our family construction business, serving as a senior officer in the United States Air Force, and running 12 different organizations around the world. Many people helped me get to where I am today, and it's my mission in life to serve as a personal wingman to others. That's what this podcast is all about, providing knowledge, tools, resources, and mentorship to help people soar to their highest altitude. Hey, welcome back to the Soar Higher podcast. This is your host, Coach Jason Ballard, and it's a real privilege to be with you today. We've got another great episode in store for you. Today, I'm going to be walking you through how to overcome some of the biggest challenges that people are having personally and professionally. You see this all over in the workforce, all over in the business world all the time. And so, what are we talking about today? We're talking about productivity, how to be productive, how to be effective, how to be efficient, how to do things the right way the first time and cut through things and get more done. Okay. So, today we're talking about how to double your productivity and get more done faster with less stress. Wow. Couldn't we all use that? I know I get caught up in these things myself in my own business, but I'm also helping other people go through these things, and I've learned some things as a coach. Working with lots of different people from a lot of different industries across the world, there are some common themes. There are some common things that are happening that I want to be able to break down and provide to you so you can take these things, prevent some of these things from happening in your organization and flourish, right? Today is about you being more successful, you thinking a little bit differently with some of the tools and the resources that I'm going to provide to you today in the podcast. So this is going to be a really good one. One of my favorite topics. So let's get into it. Where are we in the world today? Why are we struggling so much to be productive, to get things done, to follow through, to be able to balance all of the things that are going on in the world around us? It just seems like this world is spinning faster and faster and faster. It's harder and harder to keep up between our personal lives and our professional lives, and keeping up with our kids and our family and church and sports and whatever you got going on in your life. And everybody has a lot of things going on in their life. And so how do we keep up with that? It's a struggle because the world is spinning faster. In fact, there are some folks here recently that have come out and have been talking about this. And one of the big takeaways that I got from some key leaders in the business world and the political arena as a whole, and economists, is they all agree that more change is going to happen in the next 15 years. More change will happen faster in the next 15 years than the past 150 years combined. Boy, if you stop and think about that for a few minutes, that is daunting. I mean, it's already busy and crazy in this world that we live in now. How in the world are we going to be able to handle that? Because a lot of people are struggling right now. You ever kind of walk around your place of business? You ever walk around your church and talk to people? You ever just kind of talk with your friends on the back porch and listen to them talk about work and what's going on and what kind of projects they're working and where their struggles are? Everybody is struggling with getting things done. Getting things done. A lot of people are busy, and a lot of us are being busy. And there's a lot of busyness around that. And we spin a lot of plates and we spread ourselves thin. But yet, how many of us actually get crap done and follow through? There's a big difference between people that are starting things and people that actually finish things. And so we're going to be breaking that down. And so to kind of underscore some of these things, there have been some studies come out on this. One thing that NPR came out with a report here recently, even though we're in the most technologically advanced age, we have access to technology basically at our fingertips all day long, 24/7. Even though we have all types of ways to communicate and collaborate and share and email and text and phone calls and video calls and all of these different apps to share data and work together, we are becoming less productive because we are using these technologies. We're using too many technologies in too many different ways. And so sometimes we communicate in one technology suite differently than we do in another, differently than we do in another. And sometimes we use the wrong channels to communicate the wrong things. Communicating that, you're sick and you're going to be gone may not be the best way to communicate in Slack, right? If you're going to be sick and out of the office and not working, that really should probably constitute a telephone call to your boss, or at least a text, so they're going to get it and it won't get buried in a Slack message, right? And so these things all create things for us to look at, which sometimes creates a lot of noise and distractions. I think we are more distracted today more than ever. I've got a friend that's an injury attorney, and his whole focus is on people that are texting and driving distracted, whether they're looking at the radio or they're just doing different things in the vehicle with all these latest advancements of our vehicles these days, and we're getting in more and more accidents. It's because we're distracted. We get distracted at work with all kind of pop-ups and notifications, etc., right? And all of this stuff, in addition to our primary core duties and responsibilities and leading people and managing people, all leads to some frustration. In fact, the American Psychological Association has come out with a report, and it says 76% of people in our workforce today are stressed, which is about 50% more than just a few years ago. So we're continuously being distracted. There's continuously more noise in the world around us. It's harder to focus and concentrate and keep people working together. And we're getting more frustrated, more stressed in the world. And it's interesting. The University of California has done some studies on all of these things. And over the past few years, they have documented that all of these dynamics of the workforce today has accumulated into an estimated 28 billion, with a B, 28 billion hours being wasted, not being productive, opportunities missed to get things done, close deals, finish projects on time, on budget. All of that has kind of totaled into an economic impact of the United States of America of $1 trillion. Holy cow. What if we got that $1 trillion in value back? What if we could take that 28 billion hours and plug those back into our businesses? What could we have accomplished? How far down the road could we have been? How much happier would people be? How much less stress would people be, right? And so these are the opportunities. So if you're a business owner, a business leader, a manager, somebody that has some responsibility in an organization to lead and drive productivity and collaboration and success in any business out there, these are some pretty staggering statistics based off of really solid research from notable institutions out there. And so that says to me, boy, we've got some opportunities right now. There is not a better opportunity to lead, not a better opportunity to make sure we're clear on what we're doing, where we're going, and how to be as productive as possible, how to bring the best out in people every single day. Keep them engaged, keep them collaborating, keeping the ball moving. And I think that's what we all want. Nobody wants to go to work for an organization and work with people that are frustrated and stressed. Nobody wants to go to an organization where there's a lack of leadership and clarity. There's nobody wants to go to an organization that's not reaching its potential and missing all these opportunities and not developing, growing, and maximizing the potential of the individuals there as well. Nobody is going to do that. And when they're in situations like that, they're going to get unhappy. They're going to be confused. They're going to start second guessing, you as the leader, the company, the values, where it's going, and if this is really the right place for me. All of that has to work together. And so today we're going to talk about how to deal with that, how to overcome it. Because the good news is, everybody, there are ways to overcome it. There are organizations out there doing this, doing it right, doing it better than others that we can all learn from. And so as a coach that works with a lot of different people that are doing things, incorrectly, knowingly or unknowingly, there's also people doing it correctly. And so I want to pass along those value points to you to help you do things better and, to help you be more successful, help you be a better leader. There's no better time than now to step up and lead. So I'm going to show you some things and walk you through some things that I think are starting points for you to turn the ship around if you are realizing that your organization's struggling, you're not maximizing that potential, and you're not moving forward at the level that you know that your organization can achieve. All right. So, three things. One, where you need to focus is mindset and expectations. Okay, let me say that again. Number one is mindset and expectations. So, what do I mean by that? Productivity is directly affected by how you think. If I come into work excited, ready to get to work, got ideas, full of energy, good night's rest, my mindset is right, I'm going to be more productive than somebody that comes in tired, confused, frustrated, dreading to come to work. Everything is mental. And you can control the mental, you can influence the mental. And so I want you to first think about your organization. Is your organization a victor organization or is it a victim organization? I want you to be honest with yourself right now. Really, truly be honest with yourself. A victor organization is a positive organization. It's got positive energy, lots of collaboration. People are free to share ideas and work together in the best way possible. It's an organization where the leaders put the right people in the right seats at the right space at the right time and bring people together that have similar styles and ways of doing things and different skill sets and value they bring to the table. And they bring people together also different that they can round out the team and really make a strong, solid team. Victor mentality, a victorious type of organization is one where there's high expectations and standards, and they hold everybody accountable to those things. There's also a vision of the future and where we're going and how that's going to be different and better and wonderful for everybody involved. It's an organization where people realize their role and responsibility in it and how important that is and the impact they're making, because people want to be impactful. They want to know they're not just there to punch the time clock and do what somebody says to do all the time. They want to come in and make a difference somewhere. And as leaders, it's our job to make sure that happens. Okay. A victorious organization is one where people feel valued, they feel appreciated. The leadership tells them they appreciate them, they call them out in positive ways in front of the rest of the group and highlight their achievements and highlight the over and above efforts, right? So it's a winning organization. It is, we can adapt, we can overcome, even if they have a bad day, even if a victorious organization is going through a slump or maybe a bad time, there's a mentality of we're going to keep trying, we're going to make changes, and we're going to pivot, and we're going to find the road back to success again and not stay where we're at if it's not going well. Okay, that's a victorious, victor related organization. The second one is a victim style organization. Okay, so victim is blaming each other, blaming the leadership for something, blaming the employees for something. It's negative. There's gossip. There's noise. There's drama. There's people not coming to work on time. A lot of, you have a victim mentality organization. If you look at your sick leave utilization rate, and it's extremely high across the employee base, more than the norm, right? That's usually victim because people want to avoid the victim mentality. There's only so much people can take in a victim oriented organization. There's a scarcity mentality, that there's a lot of denial about what is going on. There's a lot of micromanaging. There's a lot of worrying and fears and just some chaos that happens. It's kind of rooted around kind of failure and whose fault it is, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And that kind of stuff just drains organizations. It costs you time and money to work through those things. So I'll ask you to evaluate your organization. Are you as victorious as you need to be? Do you have some work to do there? Or are you in a victim mentality? If you're in a victim mentality, and that's the culture, and a lot of things derive around just a few certain people that bark off the orders and tell people what to do, and everything's centered around a particular individual or two and what they want and how they want it, and it's more control and fear based. Then you need to make some changes, because that is costing you a ton of productivity, a ton of stress is being applied to this organization. Those kind of organizations also have a lot of turnover. So if you're struggling to keep people, then you may have pockets of some victim mentality. You may have pockets of some leadership that's not stepping up and recognizing these things. And you have to deal with these things. These are like poisons that poison the well for everybody. So I want you to think about, are we a victorious organization, or are we a victim organization? And that's a hard pill to swallow if you're leaning towards the victim, but you can change that. You just have to recognize that first. So that's number one, is making your organization as more victor or victorious as possible. Underneath your mindset and expectations, there's another thing I want to share with you, and that's called the law of self control. The law of self control. What in the world is the law of self control? Goes back to your mindset, and how you think results in the things that actually happen in the workplace. Results. What you think directly attributes to the results you are getting, good or bad. And so the law of self-control it starts with your thoughts. If you come into work thinking, I just can't hire enough good people. There's no good people out there. Nobody wants to stay. Everybody wants to come in when they want to come in. Everybody wants to work from home. Everybody wants all these benefits and, extraordinary, over the top salaries. And it's just, I just can't find good people. Well, you know what the result will be is you're right. You're not going to find the right people. And that's a victim loop you will be in, right? So the law of self control is about four primary things. It's about your thoughts and how those thoughts relate and turn into feelings, and how those feelings turn into actions, and how those actions end up in a result, good or bad. So it's about thoughts, feelings, action, and results. So if you're thinking, I can't find good people, I've interviewed people, nobody calls us back, nobody's doing this, and nobody's following through, and they stay here for 3 weeks and they leave, and then we can't keep them, we can't pay them enough, and you're in that mindset, those thoughts are turning into feelings. And those feelings are fear, control, negativity. And those things actually turn into actions where you start giving up. You start treating people differently. It sets the tone because it's not exactly what you say, it's really about the actions you take, your facial expressions you put off to people, the energy, the vibes you're giving off, especially as a leader. And so that actually will result in, yes, another person leaves the company, more negativity. Versus if you go into work and you're like, today's going to be a great day. Yes, we have challenges in the company. Yes, we need to find some more people. Yes, we have opportunities to grow and we need to fill these seats with really good people. And we've been struggling with that. But maybe we just need to change our tactics. Maybe we need to hire a business coach to help us figure these things out and evaluate how we can be presenting our company differently to the world. Maybe we need to showcase some things out on social media to show how much we care for our employees and are leaning into our employees and developing our employees. Maybe show some pictures of everybody laughing and having a good time. Maybe it's a bad perception thing, but you've got choices and options. So maybe we're going to do some small things to turn that around. Maybe we need to work with some different recruiters or agencies out there that can help us find better people. Maybe we need to be more careful on what we're asking for in the first place. Maybe we need to be more careful in asking for what we're asking. Maybe we need to detail that out, profile these people a little bit differently so we get the right person, not just skills and experience and talents and things like that, but also personality, also right fit for the culture, and really go a little deeper. And what I find when I coach people is that there's always opportunities that companies and leaders can to take responsibility and do things differently to attract the right people. Because there's also something called the law of attraction, where you attract the people to you by the energy, the thoughts, and the things that you're putting off. You ever notice at the water cooler that the gossipers always attract other gossipers? Have you also noticed that the most successful people in the world only hang out with the most successful people in the world? You know, Nick Saban of the Alabama Crimson Tide, the football coach, he doesn't hang out with negative people that drag him down. He hangs around positive people. It's the law of attraction. Why do five-star recruits want to go to Alabama? Why does Alabama win all of the championships all of the time? It's because of Nick Saban, because he has that law of attraction, because that's connected to the law of self-control. We're going to have a standard. We're going to do it a certain way. And this is just how it's going to be. And so those thoughts of what we can do different, how we can pivot, how we can problem solve differently, how we can help shape the image of the company, how we can innovate and do things different or better. Those turn into feelings. Those feelings are positive. Those feelings are, we can do it. We're going to do it. More gratitude. looking at your organization as in ways that, thinking, being thankful for what you have versus what you don't have, appreciating how far you've come versus just only looking at the things you haven't yet done or things that aren't going your way. And those turn into actions like, different people recruiting for you and different ways to project your company and different ways to promote things from within and drive innovation, drive different results. And then you get those types of results, right? So the law of self-control and, the victim victor is really important key concepts that I want you to think about when you think about the mindset and the expectations of your company. And when you can get those things right, your company will be more productive. The next thing, number 2, once those things are taken care of, is get organized. What are really the top most important things that really need to be focused on? There's a million and one things that need to be done every day at every level of the organization. But what are the most important? What are the big rocks, right? You think about the analogy of a jar, and you've got big rocks, small rocks, and you got sand. And your job is to put all of those things into the jar. They all have to fit, just like in a company. Lots of parts and pieces, they all have to work together. Well, the short of it is, if you put the sand and the little rocks in first, the big rocks won't fit. If you put the little rocks in first and the sand in on top of it, the big rocks still don't fit. There's only one way. You focus on big rocks, and that's if you put the big rocks in the jar first. Big rocks first. Then you put the little rocks in, because the little rocks kind of fall in between the big rocks and they pack in there nice and tight, and there's still room left for the sand. And then you pour the sand in and it fills in all the cracks and crevices, and then you fit all 3 in. Meaning you can't do everything all day, every day. You're going to burn out. You need to figure out your big rocks. Get organized. What really is most important right now? How do we get the right people on the big rocks that need to be worked today? Not saying you can't work on some small rocks or maybe work on some sand level task, but you do that when you got the big rocks under control. And a lot of companies out there struggle with these big rocks. These big rocks of sales, revenue generation, big rocks of talent acquisition, bringing the right people in. That's a great cultural fit with the right skill sets and talents that can really take the team to the next level, that can collaborate and be good team players and not be fighting each other all the time. Big rock of your culture and where you're going. Big rocks of maybe, forming some strategic partnerships and alliances with people out there. A lot of big rocks, but get organized. Figure out your big rocks and prioritize those, and then clearly explain those, delegate those, communicate those to the right people that need to work on those things. Once you figured that out, I'd say the next step is planning. You need to plan. In this fast-paced world we live in, everybody wants to jump to execution. Oh, we're going to go north today, 2 miles. Great. And they jump in a car and drive. And they don't know if they're going north. They don't know if they're going south. They don't know what. They're just getting in the car and driving. They don't know if there's detours on the road, construction on the road, storms, brewing in the weather around them. Like they just want to get it. They're just ready to go. No, you have to think, and you have to plan those big rocks out. You have to be smart and efficient, making sure you got the right people on them. You're using the right systems to manage those things and using the right processes so that everybody's on the same page working together. There's an old saying, for every 1 minute of planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Every 1 minute in planning saves you 10 minutes in explaining things to different people that didn't get it the first time because you didn't plan and communicate. 1 minute of planning saves you 10 minutes in chaos, 10 minutes in rework. That can be a killer. 1 minute saves you 10 minutes. Boy, if you planned out something for 10 minutes, that saves you 100 minutes ultimately. Well, what can you do with 100 minutes? A lot. That's a long time during the course of a day. So get organized, figure out your priorities and your big rocks, and then plan through that, and then communicate that. Make sure everybody's got the plan and prioritize that each and every week. You need to get the team in a cadence each and every week. Where on Mondays, for example, you can bring them together, state all the priorities you need to get done just that week, and then you follow up on that Friday to make sure all of those things got done. Everybody's rowing the same boat in the same direction at the same time. And so there's a method for doing these things called the ABC method. It helps you prioritize, where you take a list, you make a master list of all the things you got to do, all the things that are on your plate, the big rocks, the small rocks, and the sand. The A category, you break that down into A, B, C, and D. The A are the big rocks, and you put the time on that, you put the importance on that. B are the smaller size rocks, and C are the smaller tasks that administrative things you may need to follow up on at some point, or do something that's not as critical. ABC method. There's tools. These things are been out there for a while. Do not feel like you got to recreate the wheel every single time. These are some really powerful tools. And if you want access to these things, you can reach out to me at any time, and I'll make sure we get them to you. All right. So number one way to be more productive, to double your productivity, to be more efficient, to do things easier and faster. Number one is mindset and expectations. Number two is get organized, big rocks, a certain cadence for communicating where everybody's involved, everybody hears the same message from the same person, and you prioritize things and work through things in a systematic manner through planning and using the things like the ABC method. Now, there's one more thing I want to give you. Number three is talking about prioritizing your time. Your time as a leader, your time as a company. You cannot do it all. Your team cannot do it all the time, especially as a leader. You just can't do it all. If you try, you will fail. For every minute you spend doing, something that's really not in your wheelhouse is a minute of an opportunity lost that you should have been working on bigger things. That's a minute you're getting behind on other things coming down the pike. In this fast-paced world, the world's going to keep spinning. And if you're not focused on what you really are the best at, you're going to struggle. And so you need to prioritize and be able to delegate and maximize the value of your team and who can do what in the most effective manner. And so I want you to think about a principle of John Maxwell called the 5 swings. The 5 swings is kind of a metaphorical thing for if you had an opportunity to chop down a tree and you had an axe and you only get 5 swings at the tree, how would you ensure you chop down the tree by that 5th attempt to swing at the tree? That's metaphorical for what are you really truly the best at? What are some of the, raw, natural, God-given talents and abilities that the good Lord gave you, they didn't give other people, that you really truly are the best at? For me, I'll give you an example. I'm really good at leadership. I'm really good at motivating people. I'm really good at rallying a group of diverse people around a common goal and objective and actually achieving that and achieving it well. I'm good at assessing things and seeing what's going on and reading people, reading situations, reading the room, and understanding what's really going on, what it's at the root level, kind of slice through all of the the stuff that really kind of camouflages issues of the world and get right to the heart of it and start figuring out solutions and problem solving, right? Those are some of the things that I'm really, really good at. But what are you good at? What are you truly the best at? Because you can't do it all and you need to figure that out. And these are some things that I work on with executives to make sure that they are doing the things they need to be doing. According to John Maxwell, when you figure out those 5 best things about you, you can be able to do those things and do them well all day, every day. And if you only did those 5 things, you would still move the needle. And then the other things, they need to get to the other people that are blessed with those talents that can best handle those tasks and chores and duties. The last thing I want to really talk to you about on how to prioritize your time, I want to introduce you to something that you may or may not be familiar with. And it's called the Eisenhower box. The Eisenhower box is a very simple method that former President Dwight D. Eisenhower used, not only as president, but also as the supreme Allied commander of all the forces in Europe, responsible for the D-Day invasion in World War II. Very brilliant man, mastermind of leading people to do amazing things. And so you think about the Eisenhower box, it's kind of like a 4-quadrant looking graphic. And it's based off of what is important or not important. And it's based off of what's urgent or not urgent. So it's important or urgent, not important, not urgent. So if something is important and it's urgent, then that means you personally need to deal with it. If it's important, like a priority, it's critical, and it's urgent, meaning it's time sensitive, then you just need to make it happen. If it's important but not urgent, then you decide to do that at the next best time after the urgent things are done. Important and urgent, you just do them right then and there. They're top priority. Important and not urgent are things you do after the urgent things are over. And there's 2 other blocks. There's the non-important. It's not important, but it's urgent. So it's not top priority, but it's something that needs to happen sooner than later. Then you delegate that. You just hand that off to somebody else and say, hey, I need you to take care of this for me. You know, when I was working in the corporate world, there was a time when a client, we need to reach out to a client and reassure them things were going well. And so it wasn't the most important thing on my mind. It was something that was kind of in the background, but I kind of wanted to do it sooner than later. And I just asked my administrative assistant, hey, this particular person likes fishing. Can we have somebody go find this type of fishing tackle and gear that he likes to use and send it to him? And I want to put a note in there. Okay. Was it really important? Is it going to make or break anything? No, but it was something that I needed to do. It was important to me to do this sooner than later. And she made it happen. All right. And then last but not least, there's not important and it's not urgent. It's not important and it's not urgent. It's just stuff that's coming up on the radar, stuff that just keeps getting in your way, and you just delete it. It's just not gonna make it. I want to introduce you to the Eisenhower box. Feel free to Google that. You can download, the graphics. If you want to reach out to me, I can show these things to you and walk you through them. But these things are powerful tools that you can categorize things, really think through instead of just reacting to every little thing that's happening all day, every day, all the emails, all the phone calls, all the meetings, all the notes, all the things that are going on. And you can actually get down and clarify these things and organize these things so you can cut through them faster and easier and more efficiently. Okay, because at the end of the day, we are judged by not how many things we start. We are judged by not how many things we have on our plate at one time. Nobody cares about that. We are only judged by one thing: how many things we actually complete how many things we actually get done. Okay. And so just think about these things in your organization. I want you to think about the mindset and the expectations and the culture of your organization. Is it victim or is it victor? I want you to think about how you're prioritizing things, the rhythm that you and your team are in, and what you're focused on all day. Is it most important? Are you just, treating everything as an urgent thing? Everything's a priority. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, right? What systems and tools are you using to figure these things out that you can share among your staff members and people that work for you so you can all use the tools and you can all work together? And so when you are talking about these things, like I'm talking to them about you, you're all on the same page and you know what these things mean, you know the expectations around them. As a leader, our job is to set the example. And by doing these things that I've done, I've laid out here for you today, provided to you today, it'll help you be more proactive. It helps you keep everything out in front of you. It helps you think through things a lot easier, faster, and more clearly. It helps you minimize distractions and noise and just gossip and drama and breaking news and all the things in the world that just really get in the way sometimes, right? And it allows you to execute with precision, execute with discipline. And because these things are critical, and the more discipline you can surround these three major points around, the more successful you're going to be. And so I'm going to kind of end on this note with a quote from one of our great presidents of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Discipline is choosing between what you want now versus what you want the most. I'll say that again. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most. Wow, that's really powerful. And I think that's a great kind of capstone of all the things that we've talked about today. Being disciplined, using tools, using these resources, thinking about things differently, being proactive, and thinking about your career, your business as a chess game, not a checkers game. It's a long game. The building and growing and evolving this thing and not looking just for instant, quick gratification and results, right? These things are critical. And so when you do these things, I guarantee you will see a major difference. You will be more productive. Your teams will be more productive. They'll be happier. They will be less stressed, less frustrated, and they will get things done a lot easier, and you'll go a lot farther together. Again, if you want to go far, you have to go together. And that's just the world we live in. And I have seen this play out in my personal life, my business life, and that of many of my clients. It's true. So that's it for today's show. I hope you got a lot of value from it. You're not going to want to miss the next episode. We've got another great one. We're going to be meeting an entrepreneur, not just any entrepreneur, an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs. This guy has had many businesses. He has gone a long way, and he's overcome a lot of major adversity, and how he overcame that, how he revolutionized the talent industry as we know it today. It's going to be a great episode. You're going to learn a lot. Look forward to seeing you then. Have a great week.